Hey guys, Ryan Soda here back again to another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing Ghostbusters 2. Now, Ghostbusters 2 is once again directed by Ivan Reitman and features Bill Murray, Sigourney Weaver, Ernie Hudson, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Rick Moranis, Peter McNichol, Will Will Wilhelm von Hamburg, I think is his name, and Annie Potts. So the plot to Ghostbusters 2 is it takes place 5 years after the first Ghostbusters, and we follow with the Ghostbusters. They're out of business. They've been out of business for about 5 years, and the reason is because like in the first Ghostbusters, when they blew up the building to prevent Gozer from coming in, like they ended up getting sued by every state and county in New York. And since then, like they've not really been doing much. Like they've been having their own jobs. Like two of them have even been like party guests, like in birthday parties. You know, like one of those people that comes to birthday parties. You know, and Egon has continued his science thing. Like he's continued becoming a scientist, and he works in the university again, I believe. And and then Bankman has his own show. Like he has his own TV show called the World of the Sidekick or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, we follow with them, and then we follow with Dana too, who has her own baby. Like her and Peter, like they've had some issues with their relationship. She broke up with him, and she married a new guy, and she got a baby with him. And so in the beginning, Dana's baby's carriage went through this slime, because like this slime started growing from the ground, and it touched the slime, and it came to life and started moving around the city. And so what are their names? And so the Ghostbusters decide to go and visit Dana to try to like solve the problem on why that happened. And they find out, and then they go to the place where the slime grew. Like they go to that little like sidewalk, and then they see that there's something paranormal under there, like something really weird. And so they dig a hole in there, and they go in it, and they find out that it's a river of slime. Like it's a whole river stream of slime in abandoned subway tunnels. So yeah, like that whole river of slime is owned by the villain to this movie named Vigo. So Vigo is this painting that is this alive painting that's in the museum that Dana works in. And so Vigo, he was a ruler in the 15th, 16th century, I think. And yeah, he was a ruler, and everyone didn't like him, and he got killed by so many ways. Like he got poisoned, hanged, so many ways. And so Vigo decides to come back to rule over the world, like with ghosts and with ghosts and with new parents. Like he decides to go inside a little child's body and become one with the child, and have parents to take over him, and he'd be the ruler of the world as time goes on. And let me think. And so the child he decides to go in is Dana's baby. And so he's after Dana's baby, and so Dana's really scared about it. And so the Ghostbusters decide to help out. Like they decide to defeat Vigo to defeat Vigo and everything he's created. So yeah, that's basically the whole plot of Ghostbusters 2. Now, do I like Ghostbusters 2? It's okay. It's very mediocre, honestly. I mean, I like the first Ghostbusters a lot more, honestly, like a fuck ton more. I would easily say the first Ghostbusters is easily the best from these movies. Like, Ghostbusters 2 and the shitty remake, out of those movies, Ghostbusters 1 is easily the best, because like, because most of the Ghostbusters movies suck, but the first one, I would say, is the only good one. But I wouldn't say this sucks, I would just say this is very mediocre. I mean, very close to being bad, but I mean, it's enjoyable. I mean, I hadn't seen this movie in years, honestly. Like I just came fresh from rewatching it after many years. I hadn't even seen this movie since like 2018, I think 2018, 2017. Like it's been a while since I've seen this movie. And so when I watched it, like I used to like it a lot when I first watched it when I was like 9, 10 years old, but now looking back at it, I'm just like, what the fuck was this? So yeah. So I would say, like, most of this movie's flaws is that the story is not really that good. Like, the story is a little, like, confusing, like, kinda. And there's so many questions involving the story, and the characters are okay. I mean, the characters are okay. I mean, you don't even care for some of them. Let me think. And they do get a little bit annoying at times. Let me think. And most of that has to do like the baby, like little Oscar. I would say he's the part that ruins the most of the movie, because the baby. I would say you could have done this movie without a baby, because I didn't really like Oscar. Like, I thought he was the weakest point of the movie. I mean, I'm not saying that I hate babies or anything like that. I really like babies. I think they're cute, uh, but just Oscar for this movie, he wasn't really necessary. Uh, Let me think. Anything else I should say? So yeah, but like the whole thing with Oscar, like I said, he's the weakest point of this movie. I don't even care for him, and I don't really care for Dana much either. The Ghostbusters. Oh, and another thing too, this movie's called Ghostbusters, right? Cause this movie barely even shows any ghosts. Like, the ghosts in this movie aren't even in it very much. Like, they're not even in it they're not even in it for that long. Like, what is the point of calling this movie Ghostbusters? Because literally, the ghosts in this movie have very, very little screen time. I would say like less than 5 minutes or something like that. Probably even less, like 3 minutes. Because ghosts aren't even in this movie much. Like, it's mostly just slime, monsters, paintings. It's not really much of ghosts. Like, what? Yeah, so that's another major slop to this movie. Like, another major like flop to this movie is that ghosts aren't even in it much. Like, what's the point of even giving it the title Ghostbusters? And they don't even bust ghosts very much in this movie. Like, there's only like the only times they I would say the only time they literally busted ghosts was the scene in the court, and the scene and the whole montage with Ghostbusters being back. And that's the only time I would say they really bust ghosts. That's it. That's literally it. Just that whole montage and that little court scene. That's it. And other than that, everything else, they're just doing some other shit we don't even care about. So yeah, Ghostbusters 2, yeah, but all this other shit they do, I don't really care about. I mean, the whole River of Slime thing, like the whole like underground River of Slime thing, I find that very creative actually. Like, I really like that. Like, that whole point is very creative. Like, that's amazing. Like, that whole River of Slime looked really cool, honestly. Like, and that whole thing, like that whole underground thing looked awesome, honestly. I love that whole plot point. Let me see. And then I thought that was funny how the slime usually turns on and like takes out ghosts when you offend it. Let me think. Anything else I should say? Let me think. And the villain of Vigo, he was okay. I mean, at the end of the movie when Vigo arrived, it wasn't really that much of a battle, because he was only in there for just a second, like just 1 minute of him battling, and they're not even battling him, like they're just talking to him, just offending him, and just like, yeah, and it just doesn't make sense with Vigo at the end. But I'll talk about that once I get to the end of the movie, though. But for now, let's talk about the characters for this movie. So first off, Peter Venkman. I mean, he was okay in this movie. I mean, he was still pretty funny. I mean, I still thought he was funny. But the thing is, he would get kind of annoying at times. Like, all the scenes where he's, like, getting at Dana, like, where he's like, trying to, like, flirt with Dana, I just find those scenes to be a little creepy, honestly. Like, I just find him to be very weird with Dana. I just find him to be, like, like, no, like, this guy won't get anywhere with Dana. Like, this guy will get nowhere. So, yeah, but all the scenes where he's investigating, I thought were cool. Like, the scenes, like, I thought that scene was funny where he was taking pictures of Vigo and he was like, do the guys like you? Do the girls? Do the girls like you? Do the guys? I bet they both do. Destroy me, yeah. Yeah, that scene I thought was funny. So yeah, he had some funny moments in this movie, along with everyone else. And then we get on to Dana. Yeah, like I said, I didn't really care for Dana much and the baby. And that whole thing with Vigo trying to get inside the baby, which I just thought was super weird. So yeah, this movie gave you a lot of Dana, and I didn't think that was necessary, because Dana, I would say, she had some of the most screen time more than everyone else, and I didn't really care for her much. And then there was this whole thing where okay, sorry if there's noise out there. My one of my little cousins, like he's a baby, he's making noise, so like you know how babies are. So I'm sorry about that if you hear him yell a lot. Let me think. Anything else I was gonna say? What else was I saying? Oh yeah, and there's this whole sequence where there was a where Dana goes to Peter, lives in Peter's house, because like the bathtub came to life. The bathtub, I mean, it didn't really come to life, but like the pink ooze from the sewers went inside the bathtub and it tried to grab them, to like attack them. But from there she decided to go to Venkman's house. But yeah, that whole sequence, it was yeah, I didn't like that whole sequence, honestly. Like, why live with Peter? He's creepy. Like, he's been creeping you out. Why live with him? Let me think. Let me think. So yeah, Dana was okay, and then we get on to Harold Ramis. What was it? What was the kid's? Oh, Egon. How can I forget his name? Egon. And then we get on to Egon. I would say Egon was the best from the Ghostbusters in this one, easily, because all the other ones weren't really doing much, or they were kind of annoying, like Peter. But Egon, I would say he's the only one that wasn't annoying. That was actually pretty cool at some points. How he was the one that was really on top of this case. Like, he really wanted to know about the slime. So yeah, and he had some pretty cool moments, some pretty funny moments. Like, there was this one part, and when they were trying to capture the ghost with the proton packs, they were turning on their proton packs, and they were like, Do, Ray, and Egon's like, Egon. Yeah, so he had some pretty funny moments. Let me see. So yeah, Egon was cool. Like, most of the scenes with him were cool. Like him capturing the ghost, like that scene in the court. Let me think. Anything else I should say about Egon? Let me think. And then I like the whole scene where they're at the train station. I thought that scene was pretty cool, actually. That's another positive to this movie. Like, I would say the main positives to this movie are a couple of cool scenes, and a few cool scenes in this movie. Like, a few creative scenes in this movie, such as the part where they're in the abandoned train station. Like, they're walking through the train tracks, and then they start doing echoes, and Egon tries to, and Winston tries to do it, and then a voice yells, "Eat Winston!" And then like they're gonna leave, but then they get surrounded by a bunch of like dead heads, like, you know, like corpses' heads, hanged on knives. And I thought that scene was kind of creepy, actually. And then even like a ghost train was gonna run over Winston, but it just went through him. Yeah, that whole scene I thought was really creative. Let me think. And then we get on to Ray. I liked Ray in this movie quite a bit. He was cool. And then I liked that scene where Ray was the first one to find out about the river of slime. And and Ray had some cool moments. Let me think. Anything else I say about Ray? Let me think. I think that's it about Ray. So yeah, he was cool. And then we get on to Winston, which I thought Winston had a lot more screen time in this movie than in the other movie. Cause in the other movie he was barely in, and there wasn't really much of a point of him being there. But in this one, I would say he had some points being there. Cause he was like he was a major help to the Ghostbusters. Like, he went to the train train station with them to the river of slime. He helped them out with the battles. He helped them out with the cases. So yeah, I would say he was a pretty big help, but he didn't really have much of a character. I would say he was mostly just there to help. But he had a lot more screen time in this one. So I would say he was okay. Let me think. And then we got to Lewis. I like that whole subplot. I thought that whole subplot in this movie with Lewis and Janine falling in love, the phone girl. I thought that them two falling in love was really cool. Like, it was really funny, really cute, and they made such a cute couple when they were making out in the couch and they were babysitting the baby. And that scene was funny where Janine was like, was talking about Oscar. She was like, Oscar was such a good boy. Like, he was a little fuzzy at first, but then we gave him some French bread pizza. He passed right out. Janine was pretty funny too. And then I really liked her new look in this movie, where she had like short hair, like short straight hair, and new glasses. So yeah, she looked cool in this movie. Lewis was very funny, and then I liked that whole thing at the end where he tries to help with the Ghostbusters. He even puts on the suit and the proton packs. He doesn't really help much. Like, literally he just lasers the slime museum that they already tried to do. But I still like that he tried. I still like he tried to be a Ghostbuster. And they should have made a part 3 and had him be a Ghostbuster with them. That would have been cool. So yeah, Lewis was cool. Let me think. And then we get on to this character named Janosch, the slave to Vigo. I thought he was funny. I mean, yeah, he was funny. I mean, he was a little annoying at times with his accent. Let me think. I mean, not saying like, I mean, not being racist, but I'm just saying like his voice. Like, I'm sure that's not like really his voice. I'm sure that's his voice in real life, but like he tries to make it sound more like dumb. Like he's definitely like a redo of Lewis from the first movie, but in a French way, but in an annoying way though. Because I thought in the first one Lewis wasn't annoying. I thought he was really funny, but in this one I do find Janosch to be a little annoying, but he is pretty funny at times though. And then let me think. I think that's all the characters. Yeah, characters were okay. And then the soundtrack to this movie was okay. They didn't even bring back the main Ghostbusters theme. I mean, they only brought it back for the end of the movie for like just 15 seconds. But then the new music too, like the new Ghostbusters song, I thought was good. I like the out that song gonna take it home or something like that. You know, the song that you know, the song that plays when they're on their way to the museum. I forgot what it was called, but it was in GTA 5 too. So yeah, the soundtrack was good, but the first movie soundtrack was way better, I would say. And then we get on to the end of the movie in the museum. I mean, the whole thing of them bringing the Statue of Liberty to life, I thought was pretty creative actually. Like that whole scene where they're riding the Statue of Liberty and they use it to break down the slime museum. I thought that whole scene was pretty funny. And then, but the whole fight with Vigo was kind of weird because literally all they do is just laser beam him and then weaken him by. They don't even weaken him. Like Ego just gets weakened by positivity. Like literally, he just gets weakened by people singing outside. How dumb is that? I don't like that at all. Like that's fucking dumb. Like he just gets weakened by so many, like a crowd singing the Happy New Year song, and that takes him back to the painting. So yeah, that whole fight was so short and so, like, it didn't even make sense. Like, he gets weakened by that? Seriously? And then, like, him getting, like, that whole fight I just thought was very rushed, actually. And then Peter was just annoying Vigo. I just thought that part was kind of annoying. And then some of the writing here, like some of the dialogue in this movie is atrocious, I would say. Like, this movie wasn't really written very well. And I don't even know how this is made by the same guy who made the first movie. So yeah, this movie's okay. To rate this movie, I'll rate it a C+. So yeah. Bye, and see you all in the next review.